Hi. Thank you. My name is Lior. Wow, I'm loud. Usually I'm not that loud. I'm 41 years old. About a year ago, I had my dream to speak at TED. As part of my midlife crisis when I became 40, I asked myself, what's going to happen with my future? What am I going to do? Who am I? And then I started to dream that maybe one day I'll speak at TED. And it all started with one status on Facebook. The reason I'm going to be next week in Long Beach in California is one status in Facebook. So I wanted to tell you my story and share with you my enthusiasm and perspective about the future of social networks. But before doing that, I wanted to tell you how it all started. So it started with a dream, and then someone told me, hey, TED are going to have an audition for new speakers. You should go. So I went to New York about 6 months ago to an audition, and I want to show you two parts of my audition, and then we'll go to the actual, I'll do the complete TED Talk that I'm going to do next week in Long Beach, California, to you in a few minutes. But before that, I want to show you not the audition itself, but the beginning at the end. In the beginning of the audition, someone introduces me, and actually it's a true story. So what you're going to see is a true story. We'll see the beginning. I apologize for the quality of video, but I think that you'll get the message. So this is how I was introduced.
So I'm going to tell you a little story about our next speaker, who I think came from the furthest away. He came from Israel to give his talk tonight, and so he had to go and apply for a visa. And when he went to go apply for his visa, he had to have an interview, and the guy asked him, why he was coming to the United States, and he said, because I have been chosen as a finalist in the TED auditions. And he said, oh, you're going to speak at TED? Approved! And not only that, he took out his date book and he marked the live stream in his calendar. So the Visa Man is watching now. Let's wave. And now let's give a really warm welcome to, all the way from Israel, Lior Zoref.
Well, there is a more important visa that I got that I need to tell you about. Because the visa guy is okay, but the best visa I got was from my wife. Because my wife and I are going to have a baby any day now, even right now. And she insisted that I'll take an 11-hour flight from Tel Aviv and be here to make my dream come true. She gave me the real visa. And she said that if I succeed here, maybe we'll call our son Ted.
So this is how it started, and they laughed. So I thought to myself, oh my God, it's working. And now I want to show you the end of my talk. This came to me as a complete surprise. I had no idea. As you'll see, I said thank you, and I went out of the stage, and this is what happened.
Thank you so much.
Wait, Lior, come back. We have something for you. We got a little prize for your baby.
Oh, that's so cute. So I guess Ted is the finalist as a name for me. But you know that if you're going to call him Ted, he needs to be invited to TED every year.
So this was 6 months ago, and actually my wife was 9 months pregnant, and she waited, and I'm proud to present here to you Asaf Ed Zoref. And this was just a few days after he was born. Now he's much bigger, and he is a huge fan of TED. So now about the topic of my talk. I'm talking about crowd wisdom in social networks. And the way I create my talk is by using crowd wisdom. So instead of just me creating my talk, I go to my friends on Facebook and Twitter and ask them, what should I talk about? So this is going to be the first ever crowdsourced TED Talk that I'm not creating by myself. Here's one example how I create it. I asked my friends, what should I do in order to explain the idea of crowd wisdom? How can I explain it? I received many ideas. This idea came from Or Sagi. He's 16 years old. And he reminded me of the story about the ox. Do you know that story? 100 years ago, in United Kingdom, they showed an ox in a village and asked people, what is the weight of the ox? Everyone tried to figure out the exact weight, but no one succeeded. But the average weight from everyone was the exact weight of the ox. This was the basis of crowd wisdom theory. Then Or Sagi tells me, you should have an ox on stage and ask people what is the weight and then show the average. And I see your face right now, you're looking, this was the exact thing, look at my face. I was like, are you crazy? An ox on stage? But then, remember, this is crowd wisdom. People started to say, this is a great idea. You must ask for an ox. So I told myself, okay, I need to write them an email and ask for an ox. So this is the actual email that I've sent. And I explained the idea, why I'm asking for an ox, but bottom line, this was the last sentence. So can I have an ox, please? And I push send. And 1 hour passes, I say no reply, 2 hours, 3 hours, nothing. I went to sleep. And during my sleep, I had this nightmare that the guys at TED got my email and asked for an urgent meeting about this crazy Israeli guy who asked for an ox. And next day, I get a phone call. Lior, we're very sorry. We thought that you were going to speak at TED, but it was a mistake. Very sorry. Then I wake up the next morning, and I have an email from the head of logistics at TED. And she writes to me, Dear Lior, we love your idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try to find you an ox. Then 4 weeks ago, everything I'm telling you now is from recent weeks. I get an email to attend a conference call. Subject, ox. I've been to many conference calls. Dial 1, dial 2, say your name, everything. But about an ox? So I didn't know if I have an ox or not. So I dress very well, although it's a Skype call with no video, but I was nervous. And as I start the call, they are telling me, hey, Leo, how do you want your ox? With a leash or without a leash? And I'm telling them, wait a second. So, is there an ox? Of course they're telling me. Of course there's an ox. We are working with a company that delivers animals to Hollywood movies. Not only that you have an ox, you have a movie star ox, the Tom Cruise of oxes. So if everything is going to be okay, no, this is not the one, I hope. I'll show you real pictures of my ox in a few minutes. You'll see him exactly the same one. But if everything is going to be as planned, next Wednesday, I'm going to stand on a stage and say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first TED ox, or something like that. And I hope it will work out. So this is just a bit background about what I'm going to do today, right now, which is the actual talk I'm going to deliver next week. So just one thing you need to know, I don't have the ox with me right now. So I'll show you a picture of my ox. I'll give you an exercise to use your smartphone during my presentation. I appreciate if you can do that. Okay, so it's not, you'll see why I'm doing that, but I'd like you to try and estimate the ox weight. And at the end, I have someone who's looking at your results, and I'll show some of them, okay? So it's going to be 12 minutes. I'm really excited. Can we do something else? Or I need to do that? Okay, so that's it. We're starting now. This is my TED Talk. Do you have a dream, something that inspires you and that you want to do in the future? If you do, please raise your hand. Thank you. My talk today is dedicated to those of you who did not raise your hand. About a year ago, I attended TEDx in Tel Aviv. It was then that I decided to share my dream with my Facebook friends. This is how it looked.
I have a dream. כל אחד מהמרצים פה סיים בחלום שלו.
כן.
אני רוצה שאנחנו נציג בטד. לא בשנה הבאה, אולי לא בעוד שנתיים, אבל אנחנו נהיה שם על הבמה. וכשאנחנו נעשה את זה, יוסי, אתה יודע מה אנחנו נעשה?
מה אנחנו נעשה?
אנחנו נציג את הוידאו הזה. כשנצורים יפים, כשחלמנו להציג...
אין שום סיכוי שמישהו ייתן לנו לעלות על במה בטד, אין שום סיכוי. למה? זה עדיף שתמלא לוטו? תמלא לוטו? יש לך סיכוי יותר גדול לזכות בלוטו. האמריקאי, יש לך יותר סיכוי.
גם הוא אומר,
אין לך סיכוי לזכות בלוטו, אין לך שום סיכוי להיות בטד.
This is my best friend. While my close friends thought I was crazy, my Facebook friends decided to make my dream come true. And they did much more than that. They created this talk. I'm proud to be here today and present the first ever crowdsourced TED Talk, which was created by thousands of my Facebook and Twitter friends. I asked them, how can I explain the topic of my talk, which is all about crowd wisdom? Bill Gates released real mosquitoes in his talk. Jill Bolt showed the real human brain. What should I do? Or Sagi, 16 years old, suggested that I recreate the original crowd wisdom experiment from 100 years ago. So I'm not going to show you a real brain. It's even smaller than mosquitoes. It's really tiny, tiny. And right now, if everything is okay behind me, this is Teddy the ox that's going to walk on stage. This is the one, the actual one. This is him. It's huge, isn't it? When I asked for an ox, I meant a baby ox. This one, oh my God. Anyway, take a look at the picture and try to figure out what his weight is. Then use your smartphones and go to TED.com/, TED, it's going to be TED.com/ox. Right now, I'm asking you to go to bit.ly/TEDox2. So this is live right now. Next week is going to be another URL, friendlier. So take your phones, go to bit.ly/TEDox2 and send your weight estimate, okay? Do you know TEDx? Have you heard of TEDx? Starting today, we have TEDox. Anyway, the average result from your estimates should be similar to Teddy's real weight. This is crowd wisdom. The collective wisdom from a big crowd is smarter than those of experts. We'll get the results in a few minutes. Meanwhile, thank you, Teddy. This is where Teddy goes off the stage, I hope. Wisdom of crowds has been researched for many years. Organizations such as Wikipedia, Starbucks, and many others are using it. I asked myself, if this works so well for organizations, could it also work for individuals? Why can't I live my life using crowd wisdom? I have a significant crowd of friends in social networks. Instead of thinking alone, I will think with them. Ken? It doesn't work? Show the address. bit.ly/TEDox2. Did someone succeed? Please raise your hand. If you succeeded, okay, then it works. bit.ly/TEDox2. Okay. During TED, it's going to be TED.com/ox, so I hope people will remember it. It's going to be simpler. Back to the story. So I asked myself, could it also work for individuals? I have a significant crowd of friends in social networks. Instead of thinking alone, I will think with them. This is the area of my PhD with Professor Pasig, and while research is very close to my heart, my true passion is about public speaking. You have no idea how much fun I have right now here at Hilton Hotel. Really, it makes my day. I like it. What can I do? But creating this talk was fun, but also a complex task which involved many social networks. At the heart, it was Facebook, but I also used others. For example, I used YouTube and my blog to share my progress. I even posted my entire talk on Wikipedia, and hundreds of people improved it collectively. I used crowd wisdom not only in presentations, but also in many other parts of my life. I thought that I'm the only one. But as I started to crowdsource and create this talk, I found out that I am not the only crazy guy doing that. This is Carl Bassman. He's the lead pastor, כומר, למי שלא מכיר. He's lead pastor in King's Cross Church in Tennessee. We've met a few weeks ago. Since I'm Jewish, I've never met a pastor in my life. So I wanted to start by telling him, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, but I kept it to myself. He told me that he uses crowd wisdom to create his Sunday sermons. 1 week before his speech, he goes to his Facebook page and asks his friends, what should I talk about? This is how he creates the topics for next Sunday. Then during prayer, people use their smartphone to share their collective understanding. He told me that ever since he started to do so, church is fully booked. He then showed me an email from a mother of a 9-year-old boy called Caleb. His birthday was coming. Instead of a clown, Caleb asked for a pastor. He told his mother, Mommy, on my birthday, I want to talk about God. This is Francine and her son, JJ, from Singapore. She raises her child using crowd wisdom. She's doing it on a daily basis. She told me she feels as if Super Nanny is helping her to raise her child. So is this the best crowd wisdom has to offer? Cal became a star at his church. Francine is a super mommy. But is it it? You know, as a father, one of my greatest fears is the health of my children. I don't know if you ever felt helpless in your life. For me, it happens if one of my kids is sick and I cannot help them. This is exactly what happened to Deborah 9 months ago. Her son, her 4-year-old son, had a fever and a rash. She went to the doctor, and he said that this might be a strep. But Deborah was worried. She felt that something is wrong. So she used her iPhone and took a picture of her son's skin and posted it on Facebook. This is the actual picture she posted. After just 1 hour, 3 different people told her that her son might have an uncommon and fatal illness called Kawasaki disease, and that she must take her son immediately to the hospital. For Deborah, crowd wisdom saved her son's life. Each and every one of these people is using social networks to do much more than sharing. They are all thinking with their friends. They say they feel as if their brain has been upgraded. You know, many years ago, I got my first Sinclair computer. I was in a state of shock for 4 weeks. Then computers became faster and faster. Intel launched the first dual-core chip, and then came the quad-core processor. If you remember Jill Bolt's talk, when she showed the 2 parts of our brain, we have dual-core in here. When we are thinking with a big crowd, we are upgrading our brain to 1,000 core. Don't you want to upgrade your brain? Here's how you do it. First of all, you need a really sharp knife. I mean, you need a big crowd. How big? Well, it depends. If you have 300 friends and they are really engaged, it might work. But if you have 3,000 friends and they are not engaged, it won't work. So this means you need to work on building and growing your networks. You also need to have a healthy digital relationship with your crowd. Managing digital relationships is a new skill. For example, if you only ask questions, no one will want to be your friend. You need to give value, listen, and even let them know you value their opinion, just like in real life. It's a bit like marriage, isn't it? A few weeks ago, I asked my wife what we should do during that weekend. She told me, why are you asking me? Go ask your crowd. Then I learned an important lesson. There is personal wisdom, then crowd wisdom, and at the highest level, wife wisdom. I asked my friend, what is the meaning of this? Gil said that this is a completely new way to give a TED talk. At TED, we get inspired by the best speakers in the world who reaches out through the web to many, one to many. Today, let me share with you a new idea, a talk which is prepared by many, presented by one to inspire many. Then Abigail said that this is the best way to create a TED talk. And she thinks that every year there should be at least one crowdsourced talk. Then Aga said that if in the past we had file sharing, video sharing, music sharing, we are now entering the phase of mind sharing. And then Michael reminded me of the 3 precogs from the movie Minority Report. Steven Spielberg, he might be in the audience, so I'm going to ask, are you in the audience? You got this completely wrong. Instead of just three precogs connected with wires, it's the entire human race connected through social networks to create a true mastermind. So let's see if this crowd is a mastermind and go back to our ox experiment. Can I have the envelope, please? Thank you. Okay. And the Oscar goes to, these are the results that you've sent now, along with my friend's estimate. I posted this picture on my blog. So this is the average from all of your estimates. And I'm not going to say what is the exact weight of the ox. I'm keeping that for next week, so I'm sorry. But I'm going to tell you if you were close enough. So we received about 40 results from this audience. The smallest was 308 pounds, which is about 600 kilos, something like that. The highest, 150 kilos. 150 kilos. The highest was around 4 tons. Okay? So it's a big range. Teddy's real weight, now this is not his real weight. I changed it a bit, but it's close enough. So it's around 900 kilos, which is about 2,000 pounds. And your average was different from the real weight, this is a true result, by 2.7 kilos. 2.7 kilos. This is crowd wisdom in real time. And my biggest lesson is that we can use crowd wisdom not just for thinking, but also to make our dreams come true. I love this quote from Sir Ken Robinson. Do you know his TED Talk? He's really famous. He should be on the front seat. And if he is, I'm going to say, oh, I see that you're in the audience. Can you be Ken Robinson for me for a second? Say yes. Just say yes. Thank you. I admire how you take a piece of paper from your pocket and read a quote. With your permission, I'll do the same with something you said. Dreams are what guide us and what help us to become the best thing we could be. Dreams are what make us who we are. For me, being here today is a dream come true. So now it's your call. If you don't have a dream, maybe you owe it to yourself to have the courage and find one. And when you do, don't leave it to yourself. Tamar shared with me this quote from John Lennon, who said, "When we are dreaming alone, it is only a dream. When we are dreaming with others, it's the beginning of reality." To close my talk, I wish to thank all of those who created this presentation. These are my heroes. They changed my life. I truly hope that right now they are proud of me. It is my honor to have them say the closing sentence of my talk.
Great minds think alike.
Clever minds think together.
Thank you. תודה רבה.